It has been over 12 years of me trying to be consistent at the gym, and I feel like I can finally say that I have developed a fitness habit. And what I've actually realized is that it's not actually that hard unless you make it hard. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how I started my fitness habit. I'm going to talk about my background and my story, my reasons for starting my fitness habit, all of the roadblocks that I had, how I overcame them, and also my actual tips that I really wanted to share with you all. So no matter what time of year you're watching this, whether you're watching this in the beginning of the year or if you have fallen into a slump and you want to get back on track, this is definitely the video for you. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Janelle. I'm 30 years old and I'm an engineer here in San Diego. I really love making videos about goal setting. I love making monthly resets every month and filming vlogs about how I'm achieving my goals. So if that's something that you're interested in, then definitely subscribe. Before we get into this video, I do have a few disclaimers. First disclaimer is that I'm not a fitness influencer. I am definitely far from it. I'm not going to be giving any fitness tips in particular. I'm mainly focused on starting a fitness habit rather than like the actual fitness part of it, if that makes sense. I'm also not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not any of these things. I'm literally just an engineer. I don't know anything about health. I just know that it's healthy to go to the gym and do fitness things. Other disclaimer is that this is not a weight loss video. I'm not going to be talking about how to lose weight or anything like that. Literally, this is just how to start a fitness habit. I feel like I'm gonna be saying that a lot, but yeah. Just warning you right now, it's a really chatty video, so if you wanted to get straight into the tips, I'm gonna leave the timestamps down below. But without further ado, let's just get into it. The first thing that I really wanted to talk about is my background. I feel like I should give a lot of context to how I started my fitness habit. Like I said, it's been over 12 years since I've kind of wanted to start a fitness habit, but never really ended up being consistent enough with it to make it stick. But it all kind of started back in high school when I decided to join the Navy. And before anyone says anything about me being in the Navy, it literally did not contribute anything to my fitness habit. I was not motivated even throughout my whole naval career to even like go to the gym or anything. So yeah, I literally did not. But yeah, when I like signed up for the Navy, I was like really excited and anxious to go, and obviously I wanted to work out before I like actually went to boot camp because, you know, that would be beneficial for me. I still did not do anything. Luckily I was 18 at the time and, you know, made it through boot camp just fine. But while I was in the Navy, like I said, it was just like so chaotic. I never found the time to go to the gym. And you know, you'd think that military and fitness go kind of hand in hand, but I was just like, I was so busy all the time and just never found time to work out or anything. All the fitness that I did was like literally the fitness exams that happen twice a year, and I would barely struggle to make it through those fitness exams, honestly. I guess if climbing stairs counts as working out, technically I worked out every day because I was like running up and down the ship and whatnot, but like that's another story. But anyway, after I left the Navy, I was like, okay, now that I'm not running up and down the stairs all the time, I really have to find some time to go to the gym or do some sort of fitness because now I'm not as active. I decided to go to college, so a lot of studying and all of that stuff made me very sedentary. I really needed to change that, but I honestly did nothing for a while until about, I guess like 2 or 3 years ago when I decided to sign up for aerial silks. They were offering really cheap classes at UCSD for aerial silks, and I decided to join, and that was like extremely fun, honestly. So I did that for about a year. I also went to the climbing gym for a few months during that time with my cousin because there was a climbing gym right by UCSD as well. And so yeah, I did those two things for a little while, like probably less than a year, I would say, until I kind of gave up because it was actually kind of a long drive for me to go all the way to UCSD from where I lived. And then on top of that, I wasn't really making any income since I was just going to school, so I couldn't really afford my gym membership anymore, and I couldn't afford to go to my aerial silks classes anymore. At around this time was when I met my boyfriend Alex, and I feel like we went through something that most people do when they start to get into a relationship. We went to a lot of restaurants together, we ate out a lot, and on top of that, it was like kind of like this thing where one person will ask, oh, do you want dessert? And it's like, only if you do, but like both of you kind of want dessert. I don't know, it's like not something that I normally did when I was single. Like when I was single, I would just eat and then that was it. But since I was with my new partner, I would just like, you know, give in to eating fast food and going out to eat, all this stuff. But I've been on YouTube for a little while, and I had another channel before this one, so not all of my videos are on here, but I saw myself from before and I was like, damn, I do not look like myself. I don't look like how I was back then, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but I just noticed that I was like gaining a little bit of weight, especially in my face. Since I record myself so much, I saw my videos from my past and how I looked back then, and I was like, oh, I look so different. My boyfriend would sometimes take pictures of me when we would go out, and I would see myself and like just not feel comfortable with the way that I looked. And I think the needle that broke the camel's back, so to speak, was when we went on our trip to the Philippines, and we actually went to Coron, which is like this very like tropical area, and we were doing like a lot of swimming. I was wearing my bathing suit and stuff, and I saw pictures of myself from when we went on that trip, and I just like was not happy with the way that I looked. The last time that I had gone on this trip was back in 2018 when I had just gotten out of the Navy, and I was still kind of like, you know, fit. I wasn't technically fit, but like I was skinny. And comparing the pictures that I took back then to the pictures that I took on that recent trip, like, I don't know, it just made me feel so bad about myself. And I understand that a lot of things come into play when it comes to gaining weight. A lot of it is nutrition, and then on top of that, like me getting older probably contributed to that a lot. Like it's only natural that that happens. But I know deep down that I had been mostly sedentary for the past few years, so that definitely contributed like a lot. I can say that for a fact because I did not monitor anything that I ate while I was in the Navy, but the only thing that changed from me being in the Navy to me being out of the Navy was me not like running up and down the decks of the ship or whatever. Like I literally went from that to just sitting down all day working on homework and doing YouTube, which is just me sitting around all day. So I personally knew that not being active was contributing a lot to me gaining weight. I honestly did not do any cardio for like the past maybe like 5 years or so, which not only made me feel bad about myself when I looked at pictures of myself, but also like it made me feel unhealthy at the same time. I started experiencing more and more negative health symptoms as time went on, which I'm not gonna really get into, but I feel like it's something that everybody can relate to. It's just like a downhill battle from here. It's like literally your body is starting to work against you because you're not active enough. So at that point, I resolved to make it a goal here on YouTube to start a fitness habit. I think towards the end of 2023 was when I was like, you know what, enough is enough. Like I literally cannot be sitting here all day, every day, just not doing anything. Like I said earlier, I'm an engineer, but mainly I'm a software engineer. I mainly work on software. Like I'm just coding all day. I sit at the computer all day, and then I come home and I work on my YouTube video, which is literally just sitting on my computer all day again. And then my other hobbies is like reading and cars, which you're sitting like all day. So I resolved to make it a goal here on YouTube, which I started a few months ago, and I was like pretty consistent for a little while. Then I fell off, and then I got back on, and for the past, I would say like 3 months, I've been really consistent with it. The fact that I got off track and then got back on again like made me feel like I really made it stick. So that's basically my background on fitness. Basically literally like nothing. I did not do anything for like the past 5 years, and while I was in the Navy I didn't have like a fitness routine. I literally just like ran up and down stairs. Like that's all I did for the past 12 years. So now let's get into my reasons for starting my fitness habit. The first one being is losing weight, and like I said earlier, I know that a lot of things play into weight gain and all of that stuff, but for me personally, I knew for a fact that me being sedentary for the majority of, you know, my daily life was contributing to me gaining weight. Hi, I'm editing this video and I felt like I needed to jump in here real quick because I really wanted to mention that I do not believe that a person should make weight loss their entire goal for starting a fitness habit. The reason why I say this is because I believe that everybody's body is different. So some people are gonna lose weight faster than others, and I don't think that it's a good measure of how well you're doing in this goal. It might have been one of the reasons why I actually started my fitness habit, but it is not the goal. I'm not trying to reach a certain weight or anything. I'm not trying to lose a certain amount of pounds, whatever. It's just simply a reason why I started and what kind of pushed me to start my fitness habit in the first place. I really hope that clears things up. And now after like a few months of doing fitness, I just feel a lot better about myself, regardless of whether or not I lose weight. I just feel a lot more confident in my own body, which I think is way more important than actually losing weight. Just wanted to make things clear, but yeah, let's get back into the video. Second reason is that I wanted to live a healthier lifestyle. I feel like starting a fitness habit can end up being a domino effect into other areas of your life, like for example, nutrition and stuff. You don't want to be eating eating fast food every single day that you go to the gym. Like, it just defeats the purpose, right? So I feel like it will lead me into a healthier lifestyle for sure. And then on top of that, I also feel like I'm more likely to do active things, so to speak. If I'm regularly going to the gym, I'm like more inclined to go on a hike or whatever. I feel like if somebody invited me to go on a hike, I'd be like, okay, like that sounds like fun, as opposed to if I didn't have a fitness habit and somebody invited me to go like on a hike or something. I feel like I'd be more reluctant to go. And then the third reason for starting my fitness habit is that it has also been known to reduce ADHD symptoms, which I'll kind of get into later, but I feel like this will also be a domino effect because a lot of my ADHD symptoms prevent me from doing a lot of things. Like, it's just really hard to do a bunch of stuff with ADHD. So reducing my ADHD symptoms will literally make my life so much easier. Now let's talk about the roadblocks that I experienced with starting my fitness habit, which sounds kind of counterintuitive, but I think it's important to talk about them because you want to figure out ways to overcome these roadblocks. Everyone's going to have different roadblocks, but these are the ones that I personally had. And literally the tips that I give overcome these roadblocks. I mean, they're roadblocks for a reason. Like, I literally had to overcome them to start my fitness habit. But yeah, let's talk about them. The first roadblock that I had was time. I started my new job in February, which really threw a wrench in my system when I was barely starting my fitness habit. I don't really remember how consistent I was in going to the gym back in December, January, but I know that I was really motivated to go because it's like the beginning of the year, new beginnings, starting a fitness habit at the beginning of the year, New Year's resolutions, everything like that. So I know that like I was barely starting my fitness habit, and then it really like took a nosedive when I started my new job because I had to work 9 hours every single day. And then on top of that, I had a really long commute. So I would pretty much be out for like maybe like 11-12 hours a day, and that really did not give me enough time to work out, or so I thought. And then on top of that, I still needed to make time for making YouTube videos, reading, spending time with Alex and my family and all that stuff. So I thought that I didn't have time to work out at all. Second roadblock that I had was logistics / analysis paralysis. If anyone's ever experienced this, it's just like thinking about so many things all at once. Like, what am I gonna wear to the gym? What am I gonna do when I get to the gym? What am I gonna bring? What time am I gonna go? Like, all of this random stuff that I was thinking about, just like all the logistics of everything. I literally just overthought everything. And every time I would go to the gym, I'm like, okay, what do I wear? What do I bring? What am I gonna listen to when I work out? So many things that I was just thinking about. And then the last roadblock that I had to overcome was my ADHD, which I know that not everybody's gonna struggle with, but if you don't know what it entails, it basically makes it difficult to do anything, especially with starting habits. It's literally a chemical imbalance of dopamine in your brain, which contributes to feelings of motivation and the feeling of being rewarded when you accomplish something. So because sometimes I don't have enough of this chemical in my brain, I cannot feel motivated, I cannot feel rewarded when I go to the gym, and it makes it really difficult to start habits. To explain this to people who don't struggle with this, you know how a habit is something that you do that you don't have to think about anymore, like brushing your teeth. You don't have to think about brushing your teeth. You don't have to think about all of like the routine things that you do in your day. For people with ADHD or autism, it's really difficult to form habits to the point where you don't think about it anymore. It's not impossible, but it's extremely difficult. So that personally was my biggest roadblock. I know that not everyone struggles with this, but since I know that it's even more difficult for me to start habits, I feel like I'm very qualified in talking about how you can start a habit because I gotta work a little extra hard. Okay, I've gone into great detail about all of my reasonings and my background for starting my fitness habit and giving you all the context for everything. So now let's finally get into the tips. I know I was a little bit long-winded with all of that background information and stuff, but I felt like I needed to give the whole context to all of it because it just explains exactly why I've struggled for so long and why I feel qualified to speak on this subject of starting a fitness habit. But with all that being said, here are my biggest tips on how to start a fitness habit. And my first tip is to go in with the mindset of making it as easy as possible. Have you ever seen those fitness motivation posts that are mainly targeted towards men where they're like, starting a fitness habit is hard, but being fat and unhealthy is even harder, so you have to choose your hard. I really hope that I'm not the only one, but I've seen these around and honestly, they kind of discourage me from going to the gym. But recently I've been thinking like, why can't we just make it easy? Why does everything have to be so hard? Why does starting a fitness habit have to be so hard? Why are we gatekeeping starting a fitness habit? I feel like saying out loud that starting a fitness habit is hard makes you not want to do it. So I really don't understand why people always say like, it's hard, it's hard. It's really not that hard. I honestly don't think it's that hard, but I feel like you kind of have to train yourself out of thinking that it's hard and start thinking about how easy it is. Really focus on making it as easy as possible because it's really easy. Like, especially once I give all the rest of my tips, it's gonna be easy. So yeah, forget about all of that stuff that's saying that it's hard or whatever. Like, just go in with a mindset of making it easy, and everything that you do moving forward, literally just try to make it as easy as possible. That's the whole goal, especially if this is gonna become a daily part of your life. Like, why would you want to do something hard every single day? Like, make it easy. Next tip that I have is also a mindset thing, and that is to forget all of your past mistakes. For those of us who have ADHD, especially late diagnosed people like myself, we've lost a lot of credibility when it comes to being consistent with habits, especially with a fitness habit. And one thing that I've thought, especially before I got diagnosed, was I've never been consistent. What makes now different? And that kind of stopped me from starting a fitness habit because I'm like, well, if I'm just gonna start something just for me to not be consistent with it, why should I even do it? Which was a super bad way of thinking, honestly. So after I got diagnosed, I was like, okay, this is just who I am. Like, I'm not gonna be consistent with stuff, and that's okay because that's just how my brain works. And I honestly think that this should be more normalized. Like, regardless of if you have ADHD or not, I think that we should all be okay with starting over. You literally have your whole life ahead of you. Everything is in the past. Like, you cannot change anything that happened in the past. You can always move forward and be better tomorrow, but you can never change the past. So just forget about it. It doesn't even matter anymore. First tangible tip that I have is to start with small goals. Literally, just go to the gym. Go to that class. Don't think about what you're gonna wear to the gym. Don't think about what you're gonna do at the gym. Just go. Focus on going in the first place. Obviously be safe. Don't try and jump into a really intense workout before warming up. Literally just focus on going and being there. I know a lot of people give this tip, and I've personally given this tip before, but it's a huge tip for a reason. Like, it literally works. But I feel like a lot of people, and myself included, have always given this tip with like, oh, just go there for like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. For this video specifically, I would say just go. Get into the habit of actually driving to the gym and going there. And then once you've like developed this habit of actually going to the gym, that's when you can focus on like what you actually do at the gym and build up on that. I always talk about goal setting on my channel, and I think it's really important to actually write down your goals. So I would say do that as well, but do that with the intention of seeing how far you can get. Instead of like looking back on your goal and being like, oh, I didn't actually like achieve this goal. Write them down with the intention of simply just recording it and seeing how far you can get. And then after that, you can try and do better in the next month once you've established a baseline for yourself. Don't think about what you didn't achieve. That's just very discouraging. Focus on what you have achieved and how you can do better in the next month. Next tip is to take the decision making out of it. Like I said earlier, we want to make this as easy as possible. So one of the things that make it really difficult for me personally is making all of these decisions. Probably the biggest thing that helped me to stay consistent in these past few months is signing up for a gym membership and going right after work. Once I started my new job, I realized that the traffic in the afternoon was absolutely atrocious. It would literally add like 30 minutes to an hour to my commute, which was absolutely bonkers. I swear to God, like, it was literally making me miserable. So with my 40-minute commute, you do the math, it was a lot of wasted time just sitting in traffic. And it literally made me so miserable that I think I got sick from all the sleep deprivation and just like being sad all the time from having to drive all the time. So my bright idea, which was inspired by my brother who was doing this for a little while, was to go to the gym in the afternoon and wait out the traffic. This took the decision making out of going to the gym because I would honestly rather go to the gym than sit around in traffic and be miserable. So even sometimes when I don't want to go to the gym, I'll look at the traffic on the way home and see that there's like a ton of traffic and be like, okay, guess I'm going to the gym then. So that basically like would make my decision for me. And on top of that, my gym membership is actually kind of expensive. It's like this really fancy premium gym. And I know that not everybody is gonna be able to afford to go to a gym like this. But for me personally, I was looking at gyms that were in a specific location before the traffic starts, like in between my work and like before that that traffic starts. And at my gym, they offered like 2 types of memberships. It was like the same membership, but 2 different like payment options. The first payment option was a little bit more expensive in the monthly payment, but you didn't have to pay a sign-up fee. And then the second option was cheaper every month in the monthly payment, but you did have to pay for a sign-up fee. And then the sign-up fee would basically like pay itself off after 7 months because you were paying a lower monthly payment. So I pretty much signed up for the one with the fee, but with the lower payment, because I knew I would be working at my job for more than 7 months, and there were really no other like gym options around the area. Like this was the best one for me. But since it was expensive and after 7 months the fee pays itself off with my lower monthly payment, like it's kind of like taking the decision out of me going to the gym, because it's like, okay, I'm kind of wasting money if I don't go to the gym. For some people this might not work, but for me it kind of works. It's like, what am I paying this gym membership for if I'm not going to the gym, you know? Other options for taking the decision making out of going to the gym is maybe signing up for a class. If you sign up for a class, you can't really like back out of it. You can take my idea of waiting out the traffic and go to the gym in the afternoon. Or if you have traffic in the morning, you could also beat the traffic in the morning by leaving earlier and go to a gym that's closer to your work. That way you don't have to worry about hitting traffic when you're on the way to work. You're already like in that general area at the gym. Figure out ways to make not going to the gym inconvenient. Like for me, I think it's inconvenient for me to go straight home than it is for me to just go to the gym and wait out the traffic. It's just inconvenient for me to just sit in traffic. Like it's such a waste of time. Also, I feel like there's this weird paradox where going to the gym makes you feel more motivated, but you kind of have to be motivated to go to the gym in the first place. So in order to develop motivation, you have to have motivation in the first place. So if you don't have motivation in the first place, like how are you going to develop more motivation? How many times did I say motivation in that sentence? Anyway, people always say like, it's not about motivation, it's about discipline. I don't have discipline. I literally don't. I don't think you have to worry about this, especially if you take the decision making out of going to the gym. You don't have to choose to go to the gym, especially if you make everything else inconvenient to do. I don't have discipline. I basically trap myself into going to the gym. My next tip is to make it fun. And I feel like this is a tip that a lot of people give, but I still feel like it's kind of understated. When I first started going to the gym, like I said, I didn't really think about what I was doing when I was at the gym. So I mainly focused on just doing cardio. At first I would walk on the treadmill, and then I moved on to riding the stationary bike. And when I first started, I think I was listening to either music or podcasts or both, or like switching between the two. And I remember thinking that my workouts were dragging on for so long. I would only do like 15-minute workouts too. I just felt like it was so boring, and I was like actually thinking about working out. Like I just felt miserable being on the stationary bike and counting down the minutes until my workout was over. I think I even tried to listen to an audiobook while I was working out, and that wasn't working either. And I can't remember where I got this idea from, but for some reason one day I just brought a book to the gym and started reading while I was working out. I think I was reading the 3rd book in the Akatar series, and I was really anxious to finish this book, so I decided I would bring my book to the gym. And honestly, the time went by so fast. I was actually having a lot of fun reading and working out, and it actually gave me a reason to go to the gym the next day. I was just excited to find out more about like what was happening in the book. So after that, reading while doing cardio became my thing. And even to this day, like it literally makes the time pass so fast, even to the point where I'm like, okay, I can do like another 5 minutes on the stationary bike. I just want to keep reading and doing more and more. What that did for me, I think, was give me a sense of instant gratification. I do not do well with getting like long-term gratification. I don't think about that stuff, especially with ADHD. My brain is literally starved for dopamine, so it literally needs instant gratification to be able to do stuff. So making things fun is actually really important to me. And I think this tip will help out a lot of people too. If you're not into reading, you could also watch a YouTube video. I've done that before. Even just the stuff that you do during your workout can be fun too. Like if you're doing a sport rather than just going to the gym. Back when I was doing aerial silks, I was excited to go to my next class because I wanted to learn a new move, or, you know, look pretty on the aerial silk or whatever. But yeah, making it fun is so important, especially if you're gonna make this a part of your daily life. Like, why not make it fun? Like, especially if you're working or going to school all day and then you go to the gym and that's not fun either. Like, why would you want to do that? Like, it just makes you not want to go. So yeah, making it fun, very underrated tip, but so important. And kind of on a similar note, I do have a smaller tip, but not something that you should really focus on when you're first getting started. And that's rewarding yourself, or like being smart about the rewards that you give yourself. I personally like going to the sauna. This is another like instant gratification kind of thing for me, because immediately after after my workout, I go into the sauna and I just feel very relaxed after going to the sauna. This is probably not a good idea, but I also bring my Kindle into the sauna. So if I'm like really excited about a book that I'm reading and I just want to know what happens next, I bring my Kindle into the sauna and like spend some time reading and relaxing and feeling good about myself when I go into the sauna, like after a workout and everything. Another reward that you can do, which is something that you really shouldn't do until you're a few months into your fitness habit, is buying more clothes for the gym. I recently just bought more clothes and I feel good about going to the gym. It just makes me even more motivated to go to the gym because I want to show off my gym clothes. But yeah, you really shouldn't do this until like a month or two into it. To sum it all up, I think the main point of this video is to focus on making it a habit using the tips that I just gave, rather than thinking about all of the extra stuff that comes along with it, like what you're gonna wear to the gym, what you're gonna eat before going to the gym, what you're gonna do at the gym. Like all this extra stuff doesn't even matter. What your main focus should be is actually being at the gym. Once you actually become consistent in going to the gym, that's when you can focus on adding more things to your routine or trying to do different exercises at the gym or whatever. But your main focus should really be on just going. So basically that is how I personally started my fitness habit, and all of the stuff that led up to it and all the stuff that I learned and stuff that I wanted to share with you all. I really don't think it's that hard, especially if you follow my tips. After 12 long years of trying and failing to start a fitness habit, it really did end up being as hard as I thought, which is saying a lot, especially how hard I thought it was in the past. But if you have any more questions about any of the tips that I gave, please leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them as best as I can because I want nothing more than to help as many people as I can. This video literally took me 2 hours to film, but it's all worth it as long as it helps at least one person. But if you watched to the end of this video, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I will see you again very soon.